Hello everyone, my name is Miss Bright. I've been an educator for over 14 years and currently preparing for coding interviews. And I have spent hours and hours and hours studying, and I know for a lot of busy professionals it's probably difficult to find that time to study and prepare so that you can be at the level you need to be when it's time for your coding interview. So I've kind of put together this tutorial to hopefully help others out who may be in a situation of trying to balance a busy life and trying to prepare for coding interviews at the same time. So hopefully my tutorials will help. I'm starting with the most difficult topic, which I found most difficult, was dynamic programming. Took me probably almost a week just to get the hang of it. So here we go. Dynamic programming. So we'll begin with the Fibonacci sequence. With the Fibonacci sequence, you're given that f of 0 equals 0 and f of 1 equals 1. So f of 2 is equal to f of 0 plus f of 1, which is the sum of the previous two. And so if you recall, the previous two were given, we just knew those right away. F of 0 is 0 and f of 1 is 1. So in order to calculate f of 2, we're going to basically plug in 0 for f of 0 and 1 for f of 1. So I'm taking off f of 0. And so we replace f of 0 with 0. And then take off f of 1. And going to replace f of 1 with 1. And 0 plus 1 is 1. And so to calculate f of 3, we basically take, again, the sum of the previous two. But this time the previous two have changed. The previous two before f of 3 will be f of 1 and f of 2. So when we substitute in to this equation, we get f of 3 is equal to 1 plus 1, which is 2. And so we continue that same process. Calculate f of 4. We need the sum of the previous two, which is f of 2 plus f of 3, which again is 3. So by now you should have figured out the pattern and be able to come up with the formula for f of n. So from the pattern, you should be able to come up with the recursive relationship, which is that in order to find any number in the Fibonacci sequence, f of n, you only need to know the previous two. As long as you know the previous two, which is n minus 2 and n minus 1, then you just add them together and you get the answer for the current one you're looking for. Okay, so one of the things that makes recursion and dynamic programming hard is because if I was to ask you to calculate f of 10, what you would most likely do is start with f of 0, f of 1, and f of 2, and f of 3, and f of 4, and then make your way all the way up to f of 10. However, with recursion, you got to kind of know how to think backwards. So you're basically starting at the end and working your way to the beginning. And then at the same time, after you work your way to the beginning, you then go and work your way back up to the end. So this is one of the things that makes it a very difficult concept to understand, very difficult concept to grasp. But we'll go ahead and continue. So we'll start by going over some of the basics of how you set up a recursion problem. And that is the recurrent relationship is what makes up the body of your function. So this part right here, that is going to go in the body, and it's going to basically recursively call itself. And the given information is typically what you would use to terminate the function. So this will typically go at the top, and there will be your terminating conditions. So you start at the end at your answer. F of n is what you want to find, and you go back recursively to previous answers all the way back to the beginning, which is the given, in order to get these two values, and then recursively go back up, make your way all the way back up to the number that you're trying to find. So we'll first start by setting up our function with this terminating condition and with Okay, so we'll start with just making a class called the fib. And we have our signature for our method. And it's going to return an int. And we'll call it fib. And it's going to also take an int as a parameter. And we'll call that n. So as we said, we are going to start with our terminating conditions. And remember, the terminating conditions were based on our given. So if n is equal to 0, we are going to return 0 as the answer. And our other terminating condition was if n is equal to 1, we are going to return 1. And then we have, so those are our terminating conditions. So as soon as the function begins, it's going to check these two things and stop if one of these two are true. Onto the body, which occurs in every other case, we have f of n is equal to Fibonacci of n minus 2 plus Fibonacci of n minus 1. And this is our answer. And we could just put return and return that, but I'm just going to separate it into two separate lines. So after we calculate our answer, we're going to just simply return the answer. So that's pretty much all there is to the Fibonacci number. And I'm going to go ahead and make this static so I can test this out and see if it does what it's supposed to do. So here we are. I'm going to right click on this class, and I'm going to call this static method, and I'm going to pass in 4 and see what this method returns. And it returns 3 as we previously calculated.